Good morning, and today we will be learning about how to write a linear equation given information that is given to us. One of the first kinds of equations we'll be able to write is if we're given the slope of the line and the y-intercept. This is probably the easiest one to do. So just as a review, that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So here we're given the problem, write an equation of the line in standard form. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. That has a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 7. So what we're going to do is just plug those numbers into our slope-intercept form. So we're starting with y equals mx plus b. The slope is 3, so m is 3. And then our plus b is our y-intercept. And here they give us that it is minus 7, negative 7. Now this is in slope-intercept form. So the directions are to write it in standard form. So we need to move our x's and our y's over to the left, and then we have our constant on the right. So what we are doing, we have a 3x, so we are going to subtract 3x from both sides. So we are left with negative 3x plus y equals negative 7. And here is our equation in standard form. The next type that we will be doing is if we are given the slope, so in this case the slope of 1/2, and a point that it goes through. In this case it is 3, negative 8. So now we are going to use point slope form, which is this form right here, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. M is always our slope, so that's an easy one to put in. Then we have xy, or xy, x1, y1, that is the point that it goes through. So the x variable, in this case 3, goes where x is. The y variable goes where the y1 is. So now we're just going to substitute everything in. We have y minus, now in this case it's a negative 8, equals m, which is 1/2, times x minus, and then x1 is our 3. Looks like a big mess right now, but now we'll start to simplify it. Y minus a negative 8, that's the same as y plus 8. Now we are going to distribute this 1/2 into both of the items in the parentheses. So we have 1/2 times x, and then 1/2 times negative 3. That's negative 3/2. Now, starting to get simpler, we're going to move our x and our y value over to the left, and everything that's a constant over here to the right. So let's do one step at a time. Let's get this 1/2 x out of here. So we are going to subtract 1/2 x from both sides. So if I have negative 1/2 x plus y plus 8 equals negative 3/2. Now what we'll do is we are going to move this 8 over to this side. So we are going to subtract 8 from both sides. So we have negative 1/2 x plus y equals negative 3/2 minus 8. Okay. Now, one of the things we could try, we can simplify this. We could do that right now. So negative 8, we're going to try to get this over 2 in order to combine these two items. So negative 8 could be written as negative 16 over 2. So I have negative 3/2 minus 16/2. So this becomes negative 19/2. I'm just going to keep this the way it is. Now, the last thing we are going to do is we have, well, two things we have to do. We have to make sure there are no fractions in our equation. That's one thing we have to do. So in this case, 2 is on our denominator, so we can multiply the whole thing times 2. So 2 times negative 1/2 x is just negative 1x. 2 times y is 2y. And then 2 times negative 19/2 is just negative 19. So we just cleared all of our fractions. Now the last thing is we cannot have a negative number out front on our x term. So what we will do is we will multiply the entire thing by negative 1. So we get x, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2y. Negative 1 times negative 19 is 19. So our equation in standard form is x minus 2y equals 19. Now we could have combined our last two steps. So in this step, we multiplied by 2 to get rid of the fraction, and then we multiplied by negative 1 to get rid of the negative sign. We could have, and you can if you want to do this, is multiplied by a negative 2 to begin with, and that takes care of both steps at once. That is up to you. Then we will have a problem that we're given 2 points, and we need to figure out the equation of that line. Okay, so the problem now is write an equation of the line in standard form that passes through the points 2, 5, and negative 1, negative 4. So the first thing we need to do is find our slope, and that is rise over run, or the difference of the y's over difference of the x's. So remember, we can subtract in any order as long as we do it the same way for the numerator and the denominator. So let's do 5 minus a negative 4, and then 2 minus a negative 1. So 5 minus a negative 4 is the same as 5 plus 4, which is 9. 2 minus a negative 1 is the same as 2 plus 1, which is 3. 9 over 3 is 3. So our slope, our m, is 3. So now we can use point slope form. We have a 3, our slope, and we have points. We can choose either one of these points. We're going to get the same answer. Okay? So we are going to substitute in y minus, let's use the 0.25. We use the 5. We use the 3 times x minus 2. Now let's kind of simplify. Y minus 5 is good. We're going to distribute the 3 into this parentheses. 3x, 3 times the negative 2 is negative 6. Now we are going to move this 3x over here. So we're subtracting 3x. We get negative 3x plus y minus 5 equals negative 6. This dropped off. Now we are going to move this constant over to the right. We're going to add 5 to both sides. Negative 3x plus y equals negative 1. Negative 6 plus 5 equals negative 1. The last thing that we have to do, well, two of the last things, make sure we don't have any fractions, which we don't have. But we can't have a negative sign out front and by our x term. So we are going to multiply everything times a negative 1. And what that essentially does is it changes the sign on every term. So I get 3x minus y equals 1. Okay? So here's another problem. We could do it the exact same way. We want to write an equation of the line in standard form that passes through the points 0, 4, and 3, negative 2. So we have to find our slope. Difference of the y's over difference of the x's. So let's just do 4 minus a negative 2, and then 0 minus 3. So 4 minus a negative 2 is the same as 4 plus 2, which is 6. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. When we do 6 divided by negative 3, we get negative 2. There is our slope. Now, we noticed here, it goes through the point 0, 4. 0, 4. If we were to graph that, so the x value is 0 and the y value is 4. Does that ring a bell? It should. That is your y-intercept. So this number right here is our b. If we were to use the y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form, that makes it a little bit easier. So if we start with y equals mx plus b, our m is -2. So y is -2x plus b, so our b is 4. Now we're going to move our x's over here, so I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I'm left with 2x plus y equals 4. Then we have to double check those last two things. Are there any fractions? There are not. Is the coefficient of the x term negative? No, it is not. So we are finished. And that is how you write a linear equation in standard form given various information.